This is a Fox News alert from America's Newsroom. I'm Lauren Sivan. North Korea saying it has successfully conducted an underground nuclear test. The North's official state news agency reporting the test was part of, quote, the Republic's measures to strengthen its nuclear deterrent. Now, the U.S. Geological Survey saying it's registered a 4.7 magnitude earthquake in that region, and such a quake could be consistent with a nuclear test. And we're also just learning South Korea's news agency also reporting that North Korea has test-fired a short-range missile. Now, for more on this developing story, we head out now to David Piper. He joins us live from Bangkok, Thailand, via the Streambox. David, you know, the North has been threatening for weeks now to restart its atomic program. It kicked out all the UN inspectors. So how much of a surprise was this?
Hi, Lauren. No real surprise. As you said, Pyongyang had warned it was going to conduct a second test. That was after it launched those missiles recently and had UN sanctions forced on it. So North Korea has been looking to increase what we could describe as its nuclear brinkmanship over the last month or so. And when you talk about another missile being launched, we can see that North Korea is very serious, and they are trying to get the attention of the Obama administration, Lauren.
Well, David, I believe they have it. Just now we're getting where the U.S. State Department released a statement saying we are gravely concerned by North Korea's claims. They say they are still analyzing this data, but tensions between the U.S. and the North, they have been aggravated recently. You know, there's 2 journalists now that are going on trial come June. We have this test today. We had the one back in April. How would you describe right now the relationship between Washington and Pyongyang?
Well, Lauren, it hasn't been very good for many years, really. There was some hope in the region here that with the Obama administration that North Korea may perhaps come back to those all-important six-nation talks. But Pyongyang has said recently that there has been no change in U.S. policy, so they don't see it any different. And with doing that nuclear test now, they are saying that President Obama needs to focus on North Korea now. And he has had an envoy in the region recently, Stephen Bosworth,
right,
and he was talking about consequences if there was a second test. And we don't really know what pressure the U.S. can put on Pyongyang, Lauren.
Well, what about the UN? They're holding an emergency session for their Security Council today. Can we expect anything from them, do you believe?
Well, let's look at China. They're on the UN Security Council. They're the only country really that can put any pressure on North Korea, and they haven't put on much recently. They supply them with their oil, really. They keep this very weak economy going, and unless China really steps up and takes a step that it hasn't really done in the past, because this is an ally of Beijing. Unless China does something now, we can see this going into an escalating crisis, Lauren.
Right, so all eyes are on China. Now, we heard about this initially from South Korea, which reported a tremor, an earthquake, and Japan seismologists reported the same thing. What's the steps now to go about confirming this as a nuclear test?
Well, I think it will be, it won't be air tests because it was underground. It will be a case of perhaps U.S. security services testing now to see if it does correspond to past underground tests. They do understand that what would cause that, seeing if there was any other seismic activity at that time. We're talking about 4.5, I think, on the Richter scale. Now, that's pretty strong. So I haven't heard of any other earthquakes except one near New Zealand in the past, perhaps a week. So it does seem at this time that they will be able to confirm that it was another nuclear test.
And David, we know that the markets reacted immediately to this. Korea's stock index plunging 4 percentage points just within minutes of the news here. How do you think the reaction is going to be on an economic scale globally from this?
I think perhaps that's weighed into the markets, North Korea's situation. There will be, of course, a knee-jerk reaction in South Korea and perhaps Japan, because that's where those missiles do fly over, and that is the major risk in the region, is some kind of pressure by North Korea with its missiles on Japan, which is an old enemy. But I don't think the markets will respond much more unless there is increased friction in the region with some kind of response from Japan in particular, because they have warned in the past that they're not prepared to allow North Korea to become a nuclear bully in the region. Lauren.
All right, we're going to have to wait and see the reaction there. David Piper reporting for us from Bangkok, Thailand. Thank you very much, David. Once again, just to recap here, North Korea saying it has successfully launched a nuclear test underground. The State Department now coming out and saying we are gravely concerned by North Korea's claims. Obviously, other nations just as concerned. They're working now on confirming those tests. We're going to bring you any developments on this story throughout the evening and this Monday, Memorial Day, here in the U.S. For now, we head back to Geraldo at Large, which is already in progress.
Just a promo that we shot.